Have you ever heard a story so strange, so defiant of all logic, that it stays with you long after you've heard it? It's the tale of Ilara Vance, a woman who vanished without a trace, only to reappear under circumstances that defy all scientific explanation. This is a case that has baffled investigators and captivated the public, a true modern mystery that begins in the vibrant heart of the 1980s. The year was 1987. Ilara Vance was the epitome of 80s youth, full of life, her laughter echoing through neon-lit arcades and her days filled with friends, music, and the promise of a bright future. She was a familiar, radiant presence in her close-knit community. One crisp autumn evening, she said goodbye to her friends after a movie, promising to call them the next day. But that call never came. The next morning, her room was found disturbingly empty, her bed unslept in, and the window left slightly ajar, letting in the cool morning air. A frantic search began, but it was as if Ilara had simply dissolved into thin air. Soon, her smiling face was no longer seen at the local diner, but on missing person posters tacked to telephone poles, her vibrant image a stark contrast to the growing dread that surrounded her name. As days turned into weeks and weeks into years, the case of Ilara Vance grew cold. The once active investigation wound down, the thick files filled with dead-end leads and fruitless interviews, gathering dust on a forgotten shelf in the archives. Photographs of Ilara, once crisp and clear, began to fade, their colors softening just as memories of her began to blur in the minds of those who knew her. The world, as it always does, moved on. New buildings rose, fashions changed, and an entire generation was born and grew up with technology that would have seemed like science fiction in 1987. The mystery of Ilara's disappearance became a piece of local folklore, a ghost story whispered among residents, a sad tale of a girl who simply vanished. Then the impossible happened. In the autumn of 2022, 35 years to the day after she disappeared, a woman appeared in the middle of a bustling, chaotic city square. She was disoriented, her wide eyes taking in the sea of glowing smartphones, the sleek electric cars gliding silently by, and the towering glass skyscrapers that pierced the clouds. She was wearing outdated clothes and had a hairstyle straight out of a bygone era. Her name was Ilara Vance, and she hadn't aged a single day. Passers-by were confused, then alarmed, as her bewilderment turned to panic. When the police arrived, they ran her identity and were met with a ghost from a long-forgotten cold case file. The case landed on the desk of Detective Miller, a seasoned investigator who thought he had seen it all. But nothing could have prepared him for this. He was tasked with unraveling a mystery that had no logical explanation. His interviews with Ilara were baffling. She spoke of her life in 1987 as if it were yesterday, with no memory of the intervening 35 years. She was a time capsule, a living relic of the past, completely bewildered by the modern world. Medical examinations only deepened the mystery. A battery of tests, from DNA analysis to cellular scans, all came back with the same impossible conclusion. Biologically, Ilara Vance was still the same 20-year-old woman who had disappeared in 1987. There was no medical or scientific precedent for what had happened to her. Today, the mystery of Ilara Vance remains completely unresolved, a haunting question mark in the annals of criminal investigation. She lives a quiet life, a woman out of time, forever caught between the world she knew and the one she now inhabits. When she looks in the mirror, she sees the face of a young woman, but her eyes hold the weight of an impossible journey. She is a ghost from the past, living in a future she was never meant to see. The final page of her official case file remains starkly, frustratingly empty, a silent testament to a story without an ending. And as we are left to ponder her fate, we must ask ourselves, where did Ilara go? And more importantly, what brought her back? It seems that for now, some questions are simply not meant to be answered.